number 7. Okay, so welcome back. We're glad everybody's here. So we're kind of recovering from the wedding. Thank God the newlyweds are doing fine. They just sent us pictures of their first supper, so that they cooked at home. Yeah, very very exciting.
So can I see them Friday night?
Yeah. But thank God we're back to normal. We're going to be having classes. Right, we're going to have class this week. We're going to have class next week. The following week, I'm not sure. I'll keep you posted. Right, the Monday of Thanksgiving. Yeah, because we're very religious around here, and we take off even Erev Thanksgiving. Like it's really right. So you have to see. It's well have to see. But people travel, so we might have it. We might have it that people are off. So we'll see. Okay, we ended off last week, the end of chapter 1, day number 6, the famous story of God creating man. Right, and we talked about how, right, on page 9 in your Chumash, page 9, chapter 1, Genesis, verse number 26, we said, and God said, let us make man in our image. Right, and so we talked about who was God talking to when he said, let us make man? Right, talking to the angels. And we said there were 2 reasons why he was talking to the angels. Right, what are 2 reasons he's talking to the angels?
He wanted to be jealous.
Reason 1, right, that they shouldn't be jealous.
And he wanted them to buy in.
And number 2, he wanted them to buy in. Right, those are the 2 reasons.
Buy in what?
Buy into the creation of man.
Oh.
Right, okay, right, buy into the creation of man. Right, that this was man going ahead. And you see, because what the angels have a problem with man. What's the problem that the angels have with man?
Well,
They think they're going to take their power away?
No, the angels don't have free will, and man does. But okay, so why should the angels care that we don't have free will?
Like God.
Because they...
Go ahead.
We're like gods to them.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. One is that we might be right. Is that the angels looked at us and actually thought man was God. Right? Man was created so spiritually perfect that man was God, and then because again, the alone creation had a free will, which is what God is. Right? And so that's why God actually made man sleep. Right? That's why we have sleep. Right? Is that to remind us that we're not God. Right? That's number 1. Number 2.
God does not sleep.
God does not sleep, right? We're human being, we need sleep. Hence, we know that we're not God, right? That's a reminder that we're not God. As much as we like to think we're God, we are not God, right? Okay, right? That's the catch-22, right? Men always has to remind themselves that we are not God, right? I.e., we don't make the rules, we just follow the rules, right? Right? Our job is to just follow the rules, not to make them up. I was visiting somebody today whose dad is very sick and is dying, and so they said, well, what can we do to take him off life support, not to take him off life support, etc., etc. So I said, okay. So I said, well, this is what Judaism says to do. So they go, well, should we listen to it or not? So I said, the good news is, this is what God's telling you to do, right? And so therefore, it kind of makes it very clear what you should do, what you shouldn't do, right? So therefore, things become very simple at that point in time. Right? Is that right? Very simple. Is that right? God did what God wants you to do.
And what does he want them to do?
No. So normally is once they're on a heart lung machine, they cannot come off, even if they're very sick and whatever. And number 2 is there are 4 things that you always have to give to a person. And you have to give them oxygen, water, food, and basic antibiotics. Okay, those are the 4 things that we always have to give to a person, right? So again, water, right, oxygen, water, food, and basic antibiotics. Okay, so
What is the basic
antibiotics, penicillin.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of stuff, and anything beyond that already there could be a discussion about. But these 4 things are always got to make sure that you go ahead and you give. It's actually interesting. The famous Terry Schiavo case. Remember the story of Terry Schiavo? Yeah. So it was quite fascinating. I thought what President Bush did at that point in time was a very appropriate thing as far as medical, right? Whether legally was then I think overturned by the Supreme Court, right? But he was saving the life, right? Because if you take out a feeding tube, you're starving them to death. Right? Or basically dehydrated. They dehydrated her to death. Right, by taking out the tubes. That wasn't That wasn't a good thing that they did. Actually, a very bad thing. Right, and so anyways, that's what I told them. I said these are the things that you go ahead and this is what you do. Right, this is how you treat it. God makes the rules. Our job is to follow the rules. Right, and so our question just is, when God tells us to jump, the question is how high? Right, God, not God. I think have a better way of doing this. Right, that's always a mistake. Right, that you're thinking that well, God, I actually met a couple of people that think they're smarter than God. It's quite. Oh, it is so nauseating. Yeah. Like, and everything I've thrown at anybody's mouth, but I threw this person out. Like, I couldn't handle it, and it was even for me, it was just like too much. Right, but that's our job, right? But so why don't the angels? What's the problem that angels have with man? It's a very simple thing. Angels have a problem with man, is that everything in this world was created for God's honor. Right, everything was created for God's honor, and the problem is that when mankind doesn't do, if mankind, right, doesn't honor God, right, so then they're causing a desecration of God's name, and the angels can't handle that, right? So the angels say, "Don't create man, because all you're going to do is you're creating yourself a lot of sorrows, and a lot of pain." In fact, so much, by the way, when we pray. You know what we're supposed to be doing when we pray?
No, what?
We're supposed to be praying for God's pain.
For God's what?
For God's pain.
Does God have pain?
Well, again, all human emotions don't apply to God because God is not human. Okay, but God gives us human emotions to some way relate to God. Right? Could you imagine if you had 7 billion children and 6.9 billion of them don't really care about you and have nothing to do with you? Right. So God created a world. He has a world. Right. He has a world filled with people that don't want a relationship with God. And forget about not following. They're not interested in relationship with God. Right. And that's very painful. Right. And that's God's pain. Right. And we should be praying that God should end his pain and help bring his children back to him.
So when we hurt, God also hurt, right?
Yeah, sure. Right. If we think that we're hurting and God's not hurting, right, we're missing the boat. Right? When your kid hurts, who hurts more, you or the kid or the parent?
The parent.
The parent, right?
Yeah.
Right. Of course, right. And that's what happens. And is that we hurt? Is that God hurts more than us? Right. And so so why does God do it then? And why does God cause us pain?
To remind us that you finish the sentence.
Okay, no. Right, remember, let me tell you the rule. This is the rule.
Okay.
Everything that God does is for our benefit.
Right.
Okay? Everything that God does to us, for us, is for our benefit. He only has our good in mind. Okay, right? The Hebrew phrase is Hakol ma da'avid rachmana. Everything that God does, l'tava avid, it's for our benefit.
Rabbi, my body hurts. Is that for my own benefit?
Yes, of course it does. You know people who don't have pain die. Most of them usually die at age by the time they're 20, they're dead. You know that? Yeah, because why? Because they lean on the stove. They don't feel pain. They don't feel themselves being burnt. And then, what's burning? Oh,
It's me.
It's me. I just burnt I cooked my hand. Like, you know that, right? There's a disease where people don't feel pain. Those people, they break a bone, they don't feel it. They walk around with a broken bone, right? What happens with you? Right? You're toast. Right? Pain is a very good thing. I don't like pain. Right, so I try to learn my lesson before I need to get to the pain part. Right, but pain is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
So do human emotions mimic attributes of God?
That's very interesting. So human emotions in some way are tied to, yes, tied to God. God really, not really. God uses human emotions as a way for us to understand or to relate to Him. Okay, right? They give us a way to relate to Him, right? And so therefore we could feel, right? That's what we say, right? God feels pain, And God doesn't feel pain. Pain is a human emotion.
Yes.
Right? So God doesn't feel pain, but just like a human being would feel pain, right? So God is feeling pain at this point in time, right? Right? You understand? Like that. That's how that works.
So
What's the difference between feeling and emotion?
Okay, I would say they're both.
It's
I
same.
same. Yeah, I'm using them. I'm using them interchangeably. Yeah.
so how about when someone has a hard life? How's that explained?
As I said, a hard life. Okay, so very good. So what happens if somebody has a hard life? So that means that their soul. This is a job that their soul needs to do. I mean, let me ask you a question. Let me just ask you a very simple question. Does anyone here know how long they were created for?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Until your job is done.
No, the day of death is hidden from him.
Really? You didn't bore us? You don't know the day you're going to die?
No.
Only God knows.
What-
No. Okay, good. I'm just checking. Scott, you know how long you're here for? Okay, and Michael, do you know how long you're here for? Okay, let's ask the next question then. Does God owe you anything?
No.
No.
Okay. So therefore, why does God create you?
But he didn't.
But he needs us
But
to
he
serve
didn't-
him?
He didn't
No.
create
No.
me to give me pain.
Oh, hold on. Good. Okay, I'm walking you through the steps. We're gonna get to why he created you, but hold on, I'm just helping you walk through the steps. I'm doing this educationally wise, so you'll be the light bulb will go on and beep 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 right there you hit the dinger. Okay, so clearly, right, he doesn't owe you anything, and he didn't create us to serve him because he doesn't need us to tell him how wonderful he is. And contrary to popular belief, I would tell you something now. It might be quite shocking to some of you, okay? But God, we know this much about God. This much, right? It's actually it's so fascinating. We say in Friday night. We say in Psalm 99. Psalm 99 is unbelievable. Right, I always think it's so amazing, right? Psalm 99 in, and we said Friday night after the L'chododi. Okay, Mizmor Shili Yom Shabbos. Tov L'Ados Hashem Azam Hashem Echol Lahageh B'Bokar Aslecha V'Nach B'Leil. Kisvat Hashem V'Lech Masi Yadecha Aranein. Okay, God, right, with the work of your hands, I will praise you. Ma godlu ma'asecha Hashem. How great are your works, O God? Kulam bechachma asisa. You have made them all with wisdom, right? Kula bechachma asisa malaha aretz k'ninecha, right? The world, right? Ishbar lo yed, and it continues on. Ishbar lo yeda, uchsil lo yevinazos. Ishbar, like a boorish man, doesn't know this, and a fool, right, doesn't understand. Right. You understand? Right. It's so classic. Right. Oh, the world. I would do this, or I would do that, and I'm saying, you guys are all missing the boat. You think you're smarter than you think God didn't think this through. You think you have an angle that God didn't think of. Right, so we can't even begin to fathom how awesome and amazing and incredible God is. And I think we talked about last week. Do you know you have blood vessels in your body? Right? Enough blood vessels in your body to go around the world 3 times? Yeah, you know that? Right? This is not a Torah thing. This is a science thing. Right, doctors, am I right? Right? You lay them end to end, your capillaries and blood vessels and veins and arteries, end to end, you will circle the world 3 times. Like, was that just a mistake? A coincidence? Like, you got just, like forgetting, just like, he held down the button, and he locked the button of create blood vessels, and he kind of stick them all in you. And I'm not talking about a guy like me. I'm talking about like a skinny guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got enough blood vessels to go around the world 3 times. Right? And so God's wisdom is way beyond anything that we can ever imagine and ever fathom. To the extent, right? To the extent, so if we praise God, it's like, it must be painful for God to hear us praise Him. Because we say, oh God, you're so brilliant. You give us eyes to see. Right? Right? And God says, my friend, eyes to see. If you would understand anything about the eye, your head would explode. Right? And so, do you know how many nerves you have in the back of one eye in your optic nerve?
3 million.
and 3 million, right? I think it might be 1.5 million each, it might be 3 million on each, both, right? Right? Then you understand the problem? Like, right? You go ahead and you're going to tell God your eye is wonderful, right? Like who we to praise God? So God doesn't need us to praise Him. You know why He created us? There's one reason He created us. God created us in order to give us pleasure. The only reason we are here is for us to have pleasure. Okay, that's the only reason we are here in this world. What is the greatest pleasure that God can give us?
To know God.
To have a relationship with God. And so therefore this whole world is put around to a place to go ahead to create this relationship with God. Right? That's the whole reason we're here. We're here to create a relationship with God. Right? That's what this world is all about. Right? And to come and to understand how amazing God is. Right? That's what this world is all about. Right? To understand the amazingness of God. And what happens is that sometimes we go through this world and we kind of mess up some things and we kind of do certain things, and we have a soul that needs to correct those mistakes that the soul made. And the correction of those things that the soul made as it goes through this world, that's why we're here. Right? So if we're having challenges, right, that just means that our soul that we have, right, has to be fixed up in those certain ways. And being fixed up in those certain ways, right? That's what this world is all about. And that's why we're here in this world, is that we're going through to go ahead and to create a way in which we go ahead and we're creating, right? The creating that relationship with God. That's all we're here for.
So
There's nothing else.
When man goes through life without suffering,
So
it means that basically his soul is correct.
no. So either means the soul is correct, or he's so bad, God just says forget about him. right. One or the other. And then actually, that's what it says. It says a righteous person, when he has good things happen to him, he's worried, because then he's saying, I'm using up all my merit. And when he has bad things happen, he says, great, I'm getting all my punishment in this world. And it's a different way to look at the world. Yeah.
Rabbi, how do the Likra explain that? There's Psalm 99. I think.
No. So it's actually that is to welcoming the Shabbat.
Oh.
Psalm 99 is Psalm 99 really talks about when Shabbos was created. Actually, we're going to get to it, because Psalm 99 really was created to celebrate the seventh day of creation.
Yeah, but when you invite the inviting,
Right.
I think you just mentioned that God created to have a personal relationship with Him, and when we invite the groom and
No. The bride and the groom, that's just the love that God wants us to love Him. And just, Michael, just to your point, right? You should know, any soul before it's created gets shown its entire life. Okay, gets shown its entire life, and it could change anything it doesn't like.
Oh, wait a minute. So a child is hit by a car at the age of 2 years old. He knows he's gonna get hit by a child.
Absolutely. And so why? The answer is very simple. I'll tell you.
Harsh punishment.
No. It's a harsh punishment, or it's a kind. What do we say? Remember rule number one. Rule number one is everything that God does is
For the good.
for the good. Rule number two, when it doesn't look like it's good, please see rule number one. You ever see the signs in your boss's office? Rule number one, the boss is right. Rule number two, when the boss is wrong, see rule number one. Right. You never right. You saw that? So how could that be? So let me give you an example. I'll give you the emotional example that to me kind of, emotionally calms me. Okay, and it's like this. When a person dies and goes to heaven, right? And they've been a pretty decent person. But there were 2 years worth of their life where they didn't do the right thing. There were 2 years where they were kind of off the path. And they went off the beaten path. Okay, so they get upstairs to heaven, and God says, "Listen, I got a great deal for you. You were a good person, and you were excellent, right? You only have 2 years that you messed up on. I'm going to put you in the reserve seating section of the ballpark, right? If you can imagine God, right, being at home plate, right, center field, right, the 50-yard line, right, and we're all watching what's going on. Okay."
do we have a reserve seat?
The reserve seating section. It's got your name on it. It's got your name on there, and you get it right for eternity. And all of a sudden, you're enjoying God, right? You're sitting in the stadium, and you're enjoying God. And then all of a sudden, your life is great until you look down, and you see people that are sitting floor level in the sky boxes. And you see there, they don't have to pay for their concessions. They get it for free. Or maybe they paid for it in advance. Whatever you look at it. Whatever they get it's free concession, right? It's just all you can eat, all you want. They, instead of sitting in those little plastic chairs, right, you go in there, sit in these nice big, nice big cushy, and all of a sudden you pull over one of the ushers and you say, listen, I don't understand. I said, why am I sitting here? I want to sit down on game level. I want to sit in Jerry's Perch, whichever place you like, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. You want the best seats in the house. I'm not in the best seats in the house. So I said, okay, sir, we'll get back to you. Right? Oh, they pull out their the little, I'm not sure, Microsoft tablets or iPads. It depends which team you're working for. And you go and you pull it out, and they say, okay, what's your name again? And they scan your barcode. I said, oh, Mr. Michael, so nice to see you. It says, it says here that you scored, you scored a 98 in your life. Well, the people in those boxes scored 100. And that's why they got the boxes. You got 98, you got reserved. It's a nice seat. Look, the people that are sitting higher up in the upper decks, people out in the bleachers, it's like, you got good seats, not bad seats, enjoy your seat. So you sit down, but it just keeps annoying at you, you know what I'm saying? It keeps on bothering you. And then finally what happens is, you call them back and say, no, this isn't working for me. And I gotta go ahead, call them back. You call them back and say, hey, psst. Okay, I understand I only scored a 98 and those guys scored 100, but do me a favor, would you? He says, let me know, how much does it cost to upgrade, to get those seats? Those seats I want. Then he just says, okay. He sends off an email to customer support. Okay, you got it. And he goes ahead and, okay. Comes back to you a few minutes later, and he says, okay, God responded to email, and here's the answer. God says, if you want to sit in those boxes, not a big deal. All you have to do is you have to go down to this world for 2 more years. Go down to this world for 2 more years.
Behave yourself.
For 2 years, right? And then boom, you'll come back to this world, and you'll get those sky boxes rather than the seats that you're sitting in. And what do you say?
You say yes.
What a deal! 2 years, and I'm back here in the sky boxes. They say, well, wait a second. Is it guaranteed? Is it guaranteed? So no, it's guaranteed. Guaranteed. 2 years down the and what do you say? Sign me up, right? Where do I sign the dotted line? Right? 2 years down in the world of a temporal world, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll get those box seats. No, it's just fantastic. So he said, okay, I'm in. The usher says, you sure? You said, no, I'm sure. He said, you really sure you want to talk it over with your wife? And we're in. Right? Okay, God said, he said, no problem. Okay. Next thing you know, you wake up and you're a newborn baby. Wow. You forgot why you're here. And 2 years down the road, you're in this world for exactly 2 years. Remember what happened to the 2-year-old? What happened to your 2-year-old? Gets cancer and dies. Whatever it is, right? The baby dies. I don't think it's so gory. Baby dies. Where does the soul go? Straight back to heaven. To which seats?
The best seats in the house.
To the sky boxes. Is it a happy time for this soul that come back?
Yes.
Absolutely. What's the problem?
The parents are grieving.
The parents are grieving. The parents have lost a child, a 2-year-old child. So what happens is, listen to what the Talmud says. Unbelievable. Then so when God has to give a baby for 2 years down in this world, God says, I go looking for my oihavim, my oihavai. God says, I'm looking for my beloved people that will go ahead and will return my soul, my baby to me when the 2 years are up. And so those people are called God's beloved. They're called his oihavim. They're called his beloved.
They're suffering a long time.
They're suffering again. But let me explain to you something. They're choosing to suffer. But if they understand this, they should not suffer. They should be making a party. Because they've helped the soul complete its journey in this world. That, my friend, there is nothing greater in life than doing that, than helping a soul reach its completion. Nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing.
What happens when you complete it so?
What?
What happens when you complete
Completed soul. Then you go to the next world, and you get the skyboxes, and you get in this most intense relationship with God ever
So when the soul
for eternity. And the best description for eternity. I'm dating myself now, but it's a Reader's Digest I read as a kid, and it still stuck with me. I thought it was. I read it then, and still today, it still sticks with me. He said, imagine a little bird. We'll call it Twitter. Goes ahead, and once a day, it goes to sharpen its beak on Mount Everest. When Mount Everest is gone, that's a drop of time in eternity. Eternity is a long time. And that's where the soul goes. And so it's really, and it is very painful, and I'm not trying to mitigate it in any way. But when you understand the picture, right? When you understand what it's all about, right? And you understand what our job is, and you understand why we have that job, and we understand what is our purpose in this world, right? And we understand that we live in a world, that this world is a temporary world. The problem is we keep on forgetting that. We get caught up in all the nonsense that goes around, right? All the nonsense out there, we go ahead, we kind of get sucked into it, and we forget. Now that's what takes place, right? We forget what this world is really all about, and instead we go ahead and we replace it with all this nonsense.
So why is it that human is afraid to die?
Humans are afraid to die. So the answer is like this: a smart human or a not so smart human.
In general, humans are afraid to die. Nobody wants to die.
Okay. So a not so smart human is afraid to die because he thinks this world is real and the next world is fake. When in reality, the next world is real and this world is fake. Right? He's upside down and backwards, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he's right. So that's why some people, that's the not so smart human beings. The smart human beings are afraid to die.
So Moshe didn't want to die?
No, of course not. Why? Because the only place you can upgrade your seating is
Here.
in this world. So what happens is, right? So what happens is you go ahead, you're grabbing all these diamonds in this world, right? And what happens is he's saying, wait a second, I need to get more diamonds. So Moshe is afraid to die because he says, I didn't get enough diamonds. But I didn't do enough, right? God gave me life. And again, it's a little daunting, right? Because we go ahead, we look around at this world, right? We're here for a short time. It's a drop in a bucket, right? And we forget that, and we lose, you know, we take our eye off the ball. And we forget what this world is about. And we make poor decisions. Let me ask you a question. How much of our life do we spend getting stuff?
Too much time.
What percentage of our time?
75%.
You're a tzaddik, right? Somebody who's not such a tzaddik, how much of it?
99%.
Collecting stuff. 99% of stuff. Can I ask you a question? What stuff do you take with you?
Nothing.
My friends, listen to this great line. You know what the only thing you take with you?
Your body.
No!
Nothing.
You leave it in the ground, 6 feet under.
Your soul. You say take nothing.
You take not the only thing you take with you is what you gave away.
And the love you leave behind.
Listen to this. Listen to me carefully. The only thing you take with you is what you gave away. That's the only meaning what you gave away. You gave food to a poor person. You helped somebody out. You gave charity. Those mitzvos, right? The only thing you take. You know, there's a famous joke. You know, this wealthy guy gets to heaven, and he comes to the gates to heaven, and the angel says, "Sorry, you can't come in." He says, "Why?" He says, "Because you have all this money." He said, "You didn't do anything with it." He said, "No." He says, "Don't worry about it." He says, "Tell me how much I'll write the check." He pulls out his check. "I'll write the check right now, and I'll let me in." So the angel says to him, "Sir, in heaven, we only take receipts. We don't take checks." Right? You're following me, right?
Right.
Right? And so what happens is that we spend our life going ahead and get caught after all the stupidity in the world, right? All the things that are nonsense in this world. And instead of doing something that's really meaningful and really, right, we go ahead, we're serving the wrong master.
Yeah.
Right? But everything, remember this. This is the important thing to remember. Hakol ma da'avid rachmana. Everything that God does, letava of it, is only for our own benefit. It's only for our goodness. Don't think for a second it's for anything else. God only has our best interest in mind. And everything He does for us is for our good. Now, we might not know why. Right? We might not know why. But we do know everything that God does is for our own benefit.
If you're born with a drug addict parents, it's going to beat you up every single day. Is it for your own benefit?
Absolutely. Because it might make you more resilient.
I came from them.
Right? No, correct. You didn't come from them. You came from God. And God did not make a mistake and give you the wrong parents. God gave your soul the exact parents you're supposed to have. Now, again, you might say, well, it's not fair because some parents are nicer. You know, everyone always thinks that somebody else's parents are better, right? I mean, right? That's clear, right? Yeah. Everyone thinks it's somebody else's parents that are the better parents, right? But God gives you the exact parents which you need for your soul to do its mission in this world. And so stop looking around at everybody else and why do you think everyone else has it easy? You know, there's a famous story. The guy comes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, this isn't good. I want to change. I don't want my pekala, right? My little package. You need additional package, go like your pekala. You ever see those stories with the guy, the wanderers that had that stick with the little bag, cutting in the stick, right? What's the famous story like that? Right, what's it called?
Hobo bag.
The hobo bag, okay? Right, what happens, we all have our own hobo bag. And what happens is we look around at everybody else and we always think somebody else has got a better deal than we have. Right? Did anyone think of somebody else who's better than what they have? That you want their bag? He says like this. He says, okay. He says, you come upstairs after 120 and you come upstairs to God and say, you know, God, I didn't like my job. You gave me my hobo bag. I wanted Epstein's hobo bag. And God would say, no problem. Go into the room next door. And you walk into the room next door. And you see a room packed with people. Each with their hobo bags on the back. On the stick. And what happens is, you go ahead. And the angel says, okay, folks, everybody in this room is not happy with their hobo bag. So this is what we're going to do. Everybody take your bag and stick it in the middle of the room. And there becomes this big mound of hobo bags. And it says, okay, everybody up against the wall. In this big room, right, 4 walls, right, all around. And everyone goes against the wall. And the angel says, at the count of 3, everyone can run and grab whichever hobo bag they want. And you're salivating. This is amazing. 1, 2, 3. Angel takes out his gun and pistol start. Everybody starts running. And you run. Oh, where's Epstein's bag? And you look at Epstein's bag. And you take a look. Yeah, you see what he has. But then you begin seeing the things that you didn't see that Epstein had. And you keep on going through the bag. And by the time you finish going through the bag, you say, you know what?
Look better.
My bag was better. You put it down and you say, oh, but what about Schwartz's bag? And you go running and you grab Schwartz's bag. And you start looking through Schwartz's bag. And you say, oh, and you start looking through it and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't know he had that too. Really? Oh, ooh, yeah. And Schwartz's bag is going down. Maybe Klein's bag. It's Klein's bag that I need. Right, and off you go, and you grab Klein's bag, and the same thing happens. By your 100th bag, you're beginning to get a sinking feeling in your stomach that maybe your bag was really the bag that you need.
Ain't so bad.
And then you begin to have a real fear. And your fear is that maybe somebody else took your bag, and you're not going to have your bag to take back. And you go running as fast as you can, and you're about to grab your bag, and somebody else gets there first. And you're beside yourself, you're crying your little eyes out. And you say, God, please give me my bag back. And all of a sudden the person who has your bag says, oh, they have this, I don't need that. Tosses it back down. and you grab it, and you are forever, forever grateful. You see, the problem is, we forget that God runs this world. And we forget what our job is. Our job is not to be somebody else.
Right.
Our job is to be me, and to become the best me that is possible, with whatever circumstances we come up and we're raised with. Okay, because I want to tell you something. There are really not many decisions you all make in your life. I hate to break the news to you. Okay, there's not a lot of decisions you make in your life. Okay, should I prove it to you? I'm just going to run through this really quick to show you that you really are just little robots, just being like, just doing whatever your little mindless masters told you to do. Listen, let me ask you something. Okay, let me ask you, what was the real first decision you made in life? When you chose to go to which school? Probably college. Okay, now, you think you chose which college you wanted to go to.
No.
But no, you didn't. Why didn't you choose which college you wanted to go to? Because because really, no. Because really,
Right answer.
because really, your parents. You see, what college you go to really decided by really what high school you went to. What high school you went to really decided by what elementary school you went to. And which elementary school you went to had nothing to do with you. Your parents just plopped you in there. And your parents raised you and gave you values. So you really didn't even choose what college you went to. And once you went to college, you really didn't choose what job you went to, because the college basically tells you, kind of like it helps you mold you to what they think is the perfect person. So there's really not many decisions you end up making in life. That's the bad news. The good news is that every second of your day of life from here on out, from today you're finally going to live your first day, you're going to be able to decide and choose and control what your relationship with God is going to be. And as you go through your life, for the rest of the time here on planet Earth, you can choose to make that decision. Right? And it doesn't matter what college you went to, doesn't matter what high school you went to, doesn't even matter what elementary school you went to, and it doesn't even matter who your alma mater is. Okay? It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your parents did or didn't do, or don't just stop it. It's irrelevant. Because today you can make a decision whether you want a relationship with God or not. That's what you do choose. And every day you get to make that decision. And that's what free will is all about.
There's no other decision.
There is no other decision. Right? And I will tell you something else. Because don't think you control what happens to you. God controls what happens to you. You can decide what you want to choose or what you want to try to do. But that's not what happens to you. What happens to you is what God wants to happen to you. Right? And so therefore, what God will your only choice is, how do you react to what happens to you? If I walk over and I smack you right now, you know what the Talmud says? You deserve that smack, Frankie. Okay? What's your only decision?
Whether to hit him back.
Whether to hit him back or not, right? Whether to hit me back or not, right? The answer is, right, the decision how you're going to react to that. Right? That's what you control. Right?
Rabbi, I won't hit you back.
I will.
Okay, you're not invited back, Sharon. Right? But you follow what I'm saying? Is that what happens is we only control how we react to situations, and then that all we react is, what does God want? How does God want me to react? And then I can choose to do it or not. And that's free will. And that's what our job is in this world. Right? Is to make those free will decisions. And that's what God gave us. Going back, why don't the angels like us? The angels don't like us because we stink at making good decisions. And instead of going ahead, right? The angels go ahead, right? And instead of sanctifying God's name, we make these poor decisions and we desecrate God's name. And the angel says, God, don't create these people. These people aren't good. They're not gonna take your name and make it great. Right? They're gonna go ahead. They're gonna take your name, God, and they're gonna make it disgusting. Are people going to be proud of God when they meet these human beings that you created? Right? You go through life, you go through this world, and you touch people. And the way that you act when you touch these people, right, you're reflecting on God. Just make sure you're reflecting well on Him. Yeah.
What is the difference between touching people that are strangers and people that need help and touching back to your family?
And the answer is you touch everybody. Now, I went to a great commercial, and it was not a religious commercial. Yeah, but it was a great commercial. It was something along the sorts of, I think it might have been a glasses commercial. I don't remember, but it really was great. It says, and it showed basically a person traveling in this world, and walking by people in the airport, passing hundreds of people, and what it does is it says, every person they pass, it kind of gives you a little blurb where that person is up to. This person just lost their parent and is on the way home for the funeral. This person just got a promotion and is on the way to, and this person just is going place to get engaged. And this kind of just goes in, and all these people, as we go through this world, we're touching these people, and we're making, right, we're interacting with them, and our job is when we interact with anybody who interacts with us, they should walk away saying, "Wow, they have an amazing God. There goes a godly person," and that's our job, right? Is that are we going ahead and are we sanctifying God's name in the choices that we're making, right? That's really that's really what we do as we travel through this world, right? Are we making God smell good, or are we making Him stink? Right, and those are the choices that we make as we go through this world, right? We're making those choices.
So who decides if we fail?
God. That's the only one that matters, right? God decides, right? But God is the only one who's able. The Talmud says, "Ein dan el echidi." The only one who judges is God. You know why? Because only God knows all our positive traits, all our negative traits, everything that's happened to us, and all the different pieces that have affected who we are and what we've done and what we've done with it, etc., etc., etc. And then, did we do good? Did we do bad? Right? Only God can. No human being can ever do that. And our job is just to continue to choose to make those good decisions where we go and we're sanctifying God's name.
So it's not preset.
No, not at all. What happens might be preset. But how we choose, what we choose to do, that's where free will comes in. That's what the idea of free will is all about. Right? We're making free will decisions. Now we're going ahead and we're making free will decisions.
So we can change.
Absolutely.
Situation.
And absolutely. You know why? Because the only thing that can change in a situation is me. And that's the only thing we control.
When the soul shows the entire
life.
And the soul can change the...
Of course it can. Because...
And the soul might say, you know what, I want it, or I refuse to go there, or
Yeah. No, but the soul understands. Remember, who made the game plan for the soul? God. And what's God's motivation? What's best for the soul? So what's the difference between when you're in a soul and now?
When you what?
When you're a soul and when you're here now?
With the body?
Yeah, with the body. And when we're a soul, we recognize that God knows everything. When we get a body, we think we're smarter than God. Right? That's what happens, right? We go ahead and, right? And so instead of...
there is no situation when soul in this respect can say, you know what, I don't like the path which
Of course he can. And God will change it.
And God will change
But why would the soul want to change what's best for the soul?
So there is always yes. The answer is always yes. So
right, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
This world is not a perfect world.
What does that mean?
It means that...
People aren't perfect?
Yeah,
correct.
Perfect.
I agree with that.
So do we come here?
But is our job to be perfect?
Yes.
No. What's our job?
To know God.
To know God. Okay.
And to try our best.
Yeah.
Okay? That's our job is, and let me repeat this. Our job is to try our best. Right? That's our job.
So we came from two parents without our own choice.
Correct.
So we come here, we do our work, and at the end of the story we get judged.
Yeah.
For what?
For the choices that we chose to make. right? For the choices we chose.
I thought I came here to do something good.
You did. So did you make godly choices? Did you make God's name great in this world?
When I wake up in the morning, my eyes are dark. I'm completely waking up to a new day. I don't know what's going to happen to me next day.
Correct. So what do you know?
That I have to wake up and eat at breakfast.
No. That's why they're dark. Okay? Why do you wake up in the morning? What's our job when we wake up in the morning?
Well, they are neat.
I want to thank. Why? Because my job is how could I sanctify God today? Right? I wake up in the morning and go, another bright day in this right then. You know what? How can I sanctify God today? How am I going to go ahead and live my life to the fullest to make God's name great today? I'll tell you a little story. This is a story. I actually just came from watching my son's inaugural basketball game. And they won. They won. The other team got more points, but they won. They won because we actually scored 21 points. So that was quite an accomplishment for our team. Okay, so you see Chaim Zev, you say, go Chaim Zev, 21 points, that's amazing. It's so funny. I posted in my WhatsApp chat, I made a family crew chat, the scoreboard. So it showed the home team at like 30 and the away team at 21. So my son-in-law texts, I hope we're the home team. So I said, well, we really are the home team. We just are working on our attribute of kindness and we're letting the away team be the home team, right? I said, you know the joke, right? The Jewish kid, by the time he's in 10th grade, realizes he's quicker to own an NBA franchise than to play on one. Right? He's quicker to own an NBA franchise than to play on one.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, so this other team did us a kindness. We know we'll never make it in basketball. So they can start now in 5th grade. So it happens like this. The score is tied. 4th quarter. 3 seconds left. Coach calls a timeout. Coach says, okay, we're going to inbound. And we're going to pass the ball to Epstein. And Epstein, you cut across, you take the inbound pass, and Epstein, you turn, you shoot. It's a 3-pointer. We win the game. We're down by 2. Okay, we're all ready. Okay, blow the whistle, set up. Epstein makes the break for the corner. They inbound the pass. And Epstein pauses for a second. Should I pass the ball to Hurwitz on the other side? And he shoots. Buzzer sounds. And he misses the basket. And lose the game. They're walking off the court. And coach says, Epstein, come into my office. Epstein comes into his office. The coach says as follows. Says, Epstein. Says, I saw you paused for a second before you shot. And you doubted yourself that maybe you were not the right player to make the shot. And that's why you missed the shot. He says, Epstein, you might have doubted yourself, but why didn't you trust me? I'm the coach. I know my players. I know I gave you the ball because I knew you could make it. So if you don't trust yourself, why don't you at least trust the coach? My friends, we wake up every morning and we're not sure whether we're the right person to make the shot. And who woke us up this morning? God. And why did God wake me up this morning and not the 3 million people that died today?
Because he thought it would make the shot.
Because now he thought he knew we could make the shot. So if you don't trust yourself, at least trust God. Everyone here, alive today, is alive because God said, you're the man to make the shot. And if you don't trust yourself, at least trust me. And that's knowing what we're here for. And that's what our job is in this world. And that's a way where we go ahead and we live every day and we say, did I sanctify God's name today? Right? Did I do what I need to do?
So it's taking the shot, praying.
Taking the shot. Now, taking the shot is praying is one of the 613 commandments.
Mitzvahs.
You've got 612 other possibilities. got plenty of rabbinic commandments to add to that. So there are plenty of ways to take the shot, right? But the answer is taking the shot means doing right, choosing to do the right thing, right, and making the right decision.
So the different the times that we are in now and the times that Abraham was, they were closer to God than us.
Who was?
People in the.
It's irrelevant what time because we get created for our time, right?
We come here I came here for this particular year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You were created for 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, and I don't know for how much longer. God willing, for quite some time, right? For this time, for this place, to be in America. You weren't born in America, but God knew you were going to come to America, and this is where you're supposed to be, and this is the opportunity of what you're supposed to be doing, and this is your playing field. Right where you are today. Yeah.
So Moses was afraid of dying because he thought there was a lot more he could do to improve his soul.
Yeah.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, according to God,
he was the closest man, and he was batting 1,000. Right? Moses doesn't mess up.
He's in the best seat.
He's the best seat, right? He's in the best seat of the house. He's the coach. He's on the sidelines. Right? He's the man.
You know, if one of the purposes of being here is to study Torah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been at it since 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I study, the more I find out, the more discouraged I become because I realize it's too big for me to get all of it.
Not discouraged. You're making a mistake. Your job is not to get all of it.
Say it again.
Your job is not to get all of it.
To get as much as you're able.
No, the job is to get as much as you're able to get.
In this life.
In this life. That's our job.
But you made a statement that at the end of all this studying, we're only going to know this much. Why? I mean, what's the point?
No. The point is God is so vast and so infinite, right? Let me ask you a question: Is a trillion a large number?
Yes.
Okay, but compared to infinity, is it a large number?
No.
No, it's that little piece. God is infinite. One more time. Right, God is infinite, right? And then that's what I'm saying. Our knowledge of God can only reach so much. The answer is that's okay. That's where we're supposed to get to. And then, when we pass on to the next world, we continue this journey of relationship with God.
Are we supposed to look forward to that?
No, that's very fascinating. The answer is live in the moment. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. Today, you know what today is called?
What?
The present. You know why it's called the present?
No.
Because it's a present.
It's
a gift.
It's a gift.
Okay, right? It's a gift, right? You're following? So enjoy your gift. Right? Our job, and the Torah says it clearly. But God says, the Torah says, Tamim tiyeh Hashem Elokecha. Be wholesome with Hashem your God. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Worry about today.
What about love and what about creativity?
So those are all things that God has given us. And we're supposed to use them. And those are all gifts that we have along the way. Right? And those are all things that we're supposed to use and use as a way to create a relationship with God. All these things, all gifts, right? We have to use them as a way to create a relationship with God. That's what they are.
But what is love?
Okay, more. Okay, we're gonna get to that actually, but hold on. Let's at least read one verse. Okay, one verse. Chapter. One verse. I know we can do it.
No, because it's a big.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
But I think love is not love sometimes.
No, but the world thinks love is ridiculous. I just say the what the world calls love is silly. You know why? I'll tell you why it's silly. I won't tell you what real love is. I'll just show you why that love isn't. Who here loves steak? Okay, now let me ask you a question. If you love steak, why are you eating steak?
I'm hungry.
But you love this steak. Why are you eating the steak?
So I like the taste.
No. So you don't love steak.
I love steak.
No, you love how steak tastes.
Yes.
Or really, you really don't love steak. You love yourself, and the steaks make you feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just show you how you're using the word love. I love you means what?
I love me.
I love me, and you make me feel good, so I love you.
That's not good.
That's how you're using love. My friends, That's terrible. Just think about that for a minute. That is just horrible. Okay, right? You can't say, right, the world, oh, I love you, when I really mean I love myself and you make me feel good, so I love you. That's retarded. I won't tell you the right answer. I'm just telling you, explain to you why what you think love is has nothing to do with love. That's why you have to come to the rabbi with the gray beard, the fat, with big beard rabbi, and you have to find out all the secrets of life. You want to know about love, come to the rabbi. The rabbi knows all about love. Okay, but clearly the people who are going, oh, I love you. And remember, they love the cow, they love the steak too. Just remember that. They love the steak. Right?
So we are all selfish?
Oh man. Okay, we'll get to that. Remember, first rule number 1 is be godly. That's the God, right? Our job in this world is to create a relationship with God. Okay, good. Chapter 1, verse number 26.
Yes.
Alrighty. Scott, you want to read?
God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. They shall rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and over the animal, the whole earth, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So God created man in his image, in the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them.
Oh, stop. So God created man in his image. So again, it started off saying that God first asked the angels, let us make man. What does it then tell us who created man? God, singular, right? There were no angels involved in creation of man. So God created man. In his image, I thought God doesn't have an image. Could God have an image?
No.
Let's say he wants to be a man for a moment. Could God become a man?
No.
Anyone else?
Why not? I mean, if he can do anything he wants, he can become a man.
Thank you. Okay, so if you think that God can become a man for a minute, raise your hand. Okay, we only got 3 people willing to commit. And who thinks God cannot make himself a man? Okay, there's another 10 people in the class. Can we everyone vote? I'm not videotaping you. It's okay. You could be right. You could be wrong. I'm just curious what you think. Let's try this again. Could God make himself into a man?
No.
Yes.
Rabbi, the answer is that I don't have the infinite.
Well, he did.
I cannot understand God. So how can I answer that question?
Okay, no. Okay, before tonight, before now, up till now, the first 50 years of your life, do you think God could turn himself into a man?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, so good. If you think God can, yes, turn himself into a man, raise your hand.
Well, no, I'm not sure.
If you think God, if you think God cannot make himself into a man, raise your hand.
Oh, cannot?
Cannot.
No.
Okay.
He can.
Okay, we still have some people on the fence. Okay, who's still not sure? Okay. Okay. Now let me tell you something. Let me ask you a silly question. He said God can do whatever he wants. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Good. Could God create a married bachelor?
Yes.
A married bachelor?
No,
Yeah.
a married bachelor?
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
What does it mean?
It's an intrinsic dichotomy. It's not good.
Could God create a married bachelor?
No.
You know, this example worked fine. And in one class, I had a guy raise and said, Rabbi, I'm married, but I never see my wife. I kind of laughed. Okay. Yes, okay, so just bear with me. Could God create a married bachelor?
Yes.
What is a married bachelor?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. God knows.
It's a guy who's separated from his wife and never sees her.
Now, could God create a married bachelor? The answer is no. The answer is because it's a silly question. Being married and being a bachelor are 2 terms that are opposite to each other that cannot exist. Okay, excellent. So the question is the wrong question, right? So God, right? You're following? God creating a married bachelor, is that God's shortfall, or is that the words that we're using are a shortfall? The words that we're using is a nonsensical question.
Right.
Okay, so you understand nonsensical question. So, for example, the old Sunday school question: could God create a rock that's too heavy for himself to pick up?
No.
I thought God could do everything.
Well, I guess he can.
But then he can't pick up the rock.
That's because you say so.
My question:
You're not
could God create a rock that's too heavy to pick up?
Yes.
No.
And then he can't pick it up. The answer is could God. So the question. So let me put the term. Now let me use the terms. Could God, if God is unlimited, could God limit himself?
No.
No. Are you following, right? Because now you're limiting God. Okay? Right? So again, right? So God cannot be limited. One of the definitions of God, he's unlimited. And no, he cannot limit himself because that's an inherent contradiction. So then, let's go back to the first question I asked you. Could God create what's the question we were talking about?
Man.
What?
Can God
Create man.
himself as a man?
No, could God create himself in a physical image? The answer is no. Because anything physical, by definition, means that it's limiting. And God cannot be limited. That's one of the rules of God. One of the laws of God, God is unlimited. And he cannot limit himself. So God cannot create himself in the image of man. Because the question really I'm asking is, could God limit himself? The answer is no. That's an inherent contradiction, that God is limitless. You following? So therefore, right, if God cannot create himself in a man, right, he can't go ahead and he can't create himself.
Isn't that a limit? That he can't?
No. So the answer is, it's not God's limit, it's our limit. It means we're using a nonsensical term in our relationship to God. We're saying, because when we say God, it's important. When we say God, right, we're giving definitions to what God is.
We can't define it.
No. Again, it's not. There are definitions that go with it. You actually take a look in the 13 principles of Judaism.
Yeah.
The first 5 principles are definition is defining what we mean when we say God. Right? What we say when we mean God. Right? God is not, right, can't be, right, is one, right, undivisible. He's not one like me, like, you know, have 2 arms and a leg, and right, and all this together is one. God's oneness is beyond any our comprehension.
Indivisible.
Right, indivisible. And so therefore, God cannot be limited. That's one of the definitions. When we say God means something that is unlimited. And therefore, since God is unlimited, God cannot make himself into a man.
Even for a moment.
Even for a moment, because that would be God is limiting himself. That's why we don't have images in Judaism. Because once you put an image to it, you're limiting what God is. Right? And so that's why we don't have images. Right? And so therefore, so we go ahead and so God is limitless. And so therefore when it says, God created man in his image, right? It doesn't mean anything physical. Because once you say it's physical, then you're limiting God.
Spiritual.
And then, now again, and I'll bring you another proof, just an interesting, just side proof. Not just an extra one for Frankie, this is for you. Okay?
For me?
Right? There is nothing.
Bring it up, brother.
All right. There is nothing physical that man has that an animal doesn't have.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that. There's nothing physical that man has that an animal doesn't have. Right? Okay, you have a nose, an animal has a nose. You have an ear, an animal has an ear. You have a chest, an animal has a chest. You have an arm, animal has an arm. You have a leg, you have a leg, you have a tail. Right? Everything that we have. And are animals created in the image of God?
No.
No. So if animals are not created in the image of God, right? So what? We got the Jewish nose, we got the God nose. You know what I'm saying, right? Right? We got the God nose. The answer is no, because anything that is created, right? Nothing physical. Everything physical an animal already has. And therefore, God created man in his image cannot be anything physical. It has to be something spiritual.
So how can I imagine God?
How can you imagine God?
Well, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray to God. What am I imagining?
How are you imagining God? The answer is like this. Rabbi Kaplan has a great. He has a book called Jewish Mysticism. Yeah. Jewish Meditation. Yeah. Excellent book. And in it he basically says, when you imagine God, he says, what do you imagine for God? And he says, he goes like this. He says, okay, imagine outer space.
Can I reverse the question?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm being tortured.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine God that he's going to come and save me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking for prayer to save me.
Right.
But I'm imagining a hero.
You're imagining a superhero. You're like Batman.
Yeah.
Or say he's the bad guy now. I can't keep track of all the new movies. Okay.
They're all bad, right?
They're all bad. Right? So, like this. So we imagine this all-powerful, all-knowing creator of the universe that controls everything to just make it all go away. what tool God uses, God's got many tools at his disposal. Right? Everyone who's torturing you could just have a heart attack and drop dead. Right? But God has many different ways to do it, right? We think of God as being this all-powerful, all-knowing being. Right? It controls everything. The problem is it's hard. It is hard, right? To not be able to think of an image when we think of God. Right? But I'm making light of it, right? But it's a little more sophistication. Right? Because we're not creating to a object, we're creating to a energy. We're creating to a power that exists and controls everything, is in total control of the entire world. And in that point in time, we were saying God, and that being that infinite power, could do whatever he wants. And so he has actually quite an interesting thing. He says, imagine this room. He says, and it's empty. He says, but it's really not empty, there's air. He says, okay, suck out all the air. All the air is gone. Then you have an empty air. So is it still empty?
No, because there's space.
Very good, right? It's still not empty because now there's space. So now imagine that the space is gone. Yeah, it's very hard. It's hard to wrap your head around it. He says, but when that space is gone, right, and there's nothing there, that nothingness, right, which is really everything.
Well, your soul is
It's a black hole.
Black hole, because black hole is something, right? Right.
It's the concept of a black hole.
Right. The concept is that, and that's God, and that's what we're playing to is this all powerful, all knowing, all controlling, right? Power entity that created this universe and controls everything that's in it. Right. That's what we're doing.
So with the new modern physics, they say that everything is just information.
It's actually funny, right? Because really, when you get to the point of where everything is just, what do they call them now? The squiggles, strands. What do they call it? String theory. And right, it's just fascinating because really, and information really is information. It's waves, and it is on. It's just quite fascinating how eventually they're going to get to what God is, right? Just the essence of God. But that's really what it is. Is that so? We're created in God's image. What that means is that we are God. We are created in the image of God, right? So what does it mean? We're created in the image of God. That means is that God gave us the one gift that God has.
Free will.
Free will. God could do what he wants. Right? God could do what he wants. And what we call free will.
It's the will that
so we have, God gave us the ability for us to make free will decisions. Okay,
he gives me free will, but I'm making a mistake and he slaps me in the face.
No, hold on. That's only if he cares about you. No, so let me just explain to you. Okay, it means that we have free will. What's free will? Free will means that we can choose to do what we want. It doesn't mean we control it, but we can choose to do what we want. Okay, right? That we go ahead and we have choices in this world. Okay, and we have those choices, and those choices that we have, we can choose to do them. Not that we control them, because we don't control them. God controls everything. Right?
But even at that, it has to be laid out for you. God laid out the choices too.
Well, he does, absolutely. That's why you have to study the Torah, because if you don't study the Torah, then you don't know the choices. So you got to learn the choices you have, and then you can make the choices what you want to choose to do. Once you choose to go ahead and do that, then at that point in time, then you have your own choices of whether you're going to choose to do the right thing or not, and that's where your free will lies.
Right.
Yes.
I perfectly agree with your explanation about God cannot be the image of person, right?
Yeah, right.
But in the broadly answer that we give all the people that say yes, it's based on the fact that God is limitless, meaning that God can do whatever he can do.
Can God create a rock too heavy for himself to pick up? No, because part of God's definition is that he can't be limited. And so therefore God cannot be turned into a man, because that would be limiting to God.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
But based on nothing God cannot do, right?
Unless there's something, broadly. Right? It's really our shortfall of definition.
It's our language.
It's our language issues that we're asking. We're asking a silly question.
Yeah.
God by definition is limitless, so no, he can't limit himself. That's what right? That's what limitless means, right? And so therefore God cannot limit himself. So God goes ahead and God creates man in his image means that he gives us the ability to make free will decisions. And don't laugh, because that's the most important thing in your entire life. What decisions you choose to want to make. Anything else, okay, anything else, all decisions, all other things that happen, is irrelevant to you. Your only choice that you can choose is how you choose to react. I'll give you an example. Case in point. It's 7 o'clock Monday night. You're tired. You had a long day. You forgot to take a nap before you came to class.
Never.
And it's 7 o'clock, and it's time to go to class.
And the choice is, do I go to class?
Now I have a choice. I have a free will decision to make. Do I get in the car and come to class? Right? Or do I go ahead? Right? Or do I go ahead? And do I just, blow it off for tonight? Because I could always watch it on Facebook. Right? So what happens? We have now a free will decision to make. My free will decision says, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to class. I know it's the right thing to do. I'm going to class. You go downstairs to your car, you get in your car, you start it up, and everything's going hunky-dory. You're on the way to class, and you get a flat tire. And you don't have a spare in your car. And you call the tow truck, and they come, and they huppa, you finished, class is over. Now let me ask you a question. Do you get credit for going to class?
Yes.
Absolutely. You made the choice to go. You made the right decision to go. Right? You get, right? Did you go to class? Nope. Are you going to get credit for going to class?
Yes.
Yup. Right? Because you made the free will decision. That's where free will decisions lie.
But the flat tire was the God's will.
Yeah. He didn't want you in class that night. Yeah, so he made sure you didn't get there.
Facebook.
It also leaves you to another decision. Then, do I go home and watch it on Facebook, or do I skip it?
Right. No, right. Again, so because life, we make tens and tens, probably hundreds and hundreds of decisions every day. We make our free will decisions, what we're going to do. And we're making those decisions. And the Torah is here to guide us to go ahead, that we should make all those free will decisions emulating God. And that's our job in this world. Right? And that's what we're there for. That's what we're there to do. Right? To make those free will decisions. Right? To make the right choices. Yeah.
What if you make a vow of marriage?
Right?
And the person you love is keeping you from fulfilling your free will.
So the answer is like this. So now, let's say you get, okay, I'm going to tell you, let's take it even more stark than that, okay? And this is one of the greatest stories I heard. A true story. Yosef Mendelovich, okay, was a refusenik in Russia. Okay, in the 1970s. Mendelovich.
Yeah.
And we brought him here to speak once. Unbelievable person. And what happened was they threw him into the Russian gulag, solitary confinement, because he wanted to learn more about Judaism. And he's sitting in prison, and it's Friday afternoon, and it's getting close to sundown. And he says, what does a Jew do when Shabbat comes? He says a Jew lights candles. There's only one little problem.
No candles.
There are no candles in the Russian gulag. So he takes his finger.
No.
And he scratches on the wall 2 candles with a wick. And when it came time to light candles, he scratched on the wall 2 flames on the candles.
Oh.
Now let me ask you a question. Did he light Shabbat candles?
Yes.
Absolutely.
He absolutely did not. There are no candles burning.
He did.
No. Right, but did he?
But he carried out the
choose?
right
Did he?
thing.
Did he did he? I told him. I said, what can I buy from? What can I give you to give me the merit of those 2 candles that you drew?
What do you say?
There's nothing in the world. Right? That's a free will decision. Right? You know what I'm saying? Right? That's meaning physically, our choices might be limited. Right? But even within our choices, we still get to make free will decisions. They become limited. Right? We're not going to do it by the wax candles or to use oil and floating wicks, right? All those things he doesn't have. Right? But it means every place where we're at, we go ahead and we have choices, free will decisions that we make.
Is he gonna get credit for whatever he did?
Absolutely. I told you, I think the credit he got for that is gonna be far greater than any merit I ever have. Right? Because he's choosing, right, with the limited options. Right? But he's choosing. Right? It's what choices are he making? And that's really those choices that we make. So we go ahead. So God goes ahead and God says it takes man, create a man in His image. Right? That means He goes ahead and He gives man free will. He says, "I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom." Now, there's only one problem with this. What happens?
What do you mean what happens?
If we make a poor decision? We don't listen to God.
They take the key away?
No. So while we're making the poor decision, God still gives us life.
But it doesn't reflect the image of God.
It doesn't. But God is so kind. He gives us life. And how many times a day do we kind of like mess up a little bit?
Every day.
And let me ask you, does God keep on giving us life?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the things He overlooks far outweigh, right, any of the good that we do. And yet God says that's okay. Because our job in this world is to try. Right? Our job in this world is to try to go ahead and to make the right decisions. To strive to do our best. And that's our job. To strive to do our best.
To be kind the best we can.
To be godly.
In
right?
everything.
In everything, in every place, and every time, in every way. Right? To go ahead, right? Means that we should leave behind us a trail of godliness, not a trail of disaster. Right? And again, we choose to do. And that's what it says. God created us in His image. Right? In the image of God, He created him. Now we come to the next part. Very, very important. Scott, read verse 27 again, would you?
So God created man in His image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them.
Okay. So how does God?
This woman has to.
How does God go ahead? How does God go ahead and create man?
It's man and woman.
Read
He
this.
create a something which has both sexes. That's what it is.
Well, that's my question. How does God go ahead and create this human being?
This who?
This human being.
Yeah, this
Create
human
them
being.
as male and female.
Male and female in one.
He
right?
created him as
One.
one. Well, again, let's read this, right? So God created man in His image. In the image of God, He created him, male and female. He created them. So is it a him, or is it a them?
Them.
Both. Or him. I mean, is it in one?
He made.
It says him.
He made them one. They were one.
Was it one? Was it one? Two of them in one, was it? And then they separated. No, I mean then they separated them, right? Into.
Oh, okay, I'm asking. So you're saying He created first him as a hermaphrodite, and then He separated them. Okay, good. Okay, who agrees with Boris?
Boris is right.
I agree.
Who doesn't agree with Boris?
That's a bad mistake.
Boris, you only got two other people with you. Did he create a him or did he create a them?
He created
Them.
him
He
as a
created Adam and Eve
Him.
together,
Them.
separated them later.
So he's saying the same thing.
He's saying the same thing. So you agree with Boris. Okay, right?
Hey, it's best to agree with Boris.
Okay, no, so okay, well done. So, right, did he create a him, did he create a them?
Create him.
He created him first and then created them.
How does that happen?
First he created man.
First he created man. Okay, and then?
Then he gave a man a partner to be a woman. And then it was them.
So first he created him, and how did he create the partner?
Took a rib from the.
Took a rib.
Yeah.
So it's two versions. It comes to these two versions.
Okay, so
one is
What did you-
that they
what is
already
that
have
word?
both ready,
yeah,
both ready with all the necessary things.
right,
Her and him, right?
Right.
And then he just separated them. And the other version that while Adam was asleep, he took part of his side and created Eve.
okay,
It's a
good.
different version, completely different version.
Okay.
And I have one more question. When he created the animals, he created the male animal or female animal?
He created both. He created a male animal, created a female
At the same
animal.
time.
At the same time. He created 1,000,000 male animals, 1,000,000 male tigers, and 1,000,000 female tigers.
All at once.
All at once.
Yes.
Bang!
So going
Out
back-
came the lions, jumping from the earth.
How come the woman came from the man's rib?
Oh.
She didn't come
or
from
they
the
were,
rib.
Okay, hold on.
which
Okay,
version do you believe?
okay what was the other version, Boris?
The first version, both of them were preset, they just
Right.
separated them.
Right.
Okay, with all the parts ready.
It doesn't say anything. It just says he created. Let me read it to you again. Scott, then maybe you want to read it again. I think he's Boris isn't listening here. Go ahead. Read it again.
Listen, Boris.
That's the version which they tell us all the time. You know that.
Verse number 9. Go ahead.
So God created man in
What
his
page
image.
it is?
Page 9.
So God created man in his image, and in the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them.
Male and female, he created them.
But
Now,
Him is
okay,
male
to
and
be
female.
fair, Boris is referencing chapter 2. Because in chapter 2, the Torah goes back and gives us more information about the creation of man. Okay, so actually, if you want to just turn 2 pages, and turn to page 13, excuse me, verse 15.
Okay.
Okay, verse 15. 15, verse 15, page 15, chapter 2, verse 21. Yeah, chapter 2, verse 21. Kenny, you want to read?
I gotta find 21. That's page 15.
Page 15, the third line down.
Page 13.
So Hashem, God cast a deep sleep on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his sides, and he filled in the flesh in its place. Then Hashem, God, fashioned the side that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, This time it is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This shall be called woman, for from man she was taken. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and cling to his wife, and they shall become one flesh.
Okay, so what does it say over here? How did God create man?
First, it seems in this version that he created Adam specifically as a man only, and then during the sleep he took part of his body and created a woman.
Okay. And in now let's go back to chapter 1. So is chapter 2 and chapter 1 contradicting each other or giving us more information?
More information.
More information, right? Because remember, God is the author of chapter 1 and chapter 2. Actually, of all chapters in Genesis and all of Exodus and all in Leviticus and all the Numbers and all of Deuteronomy, right? God is the author of the entire Torah. Right? So therefore, if he tells us 2 different stories, what does that mean?
They're complementary.
They're complementary to each other. Okay, so when it says as follows, in the image of God, right, it says as follows, it says, so God created man in his image, in the image of God he created him, male and female he created them.
He created both in his image.
Both in his image, right?
But that doesn't necessarily mean that both had to be created at the same time, but it preserves the same concept of forming the male and the female animals at the same time.
Okay, so again, man was not created like the animals.
But
Right? The animals, God told the earth bring forth animals, and the earth brought forth animals. How many lions, how many tigers, how many antelopes, how many cantaloupes, how many Giraffes, right? Right, how many? Millions and millions and millions and millions. You got the whole continent of Africa, the whole savannah to carpeted with all the different huge herds of bison and antelope and cheetahs and lions and tigers and all of the and snakes and scorpions and hyenas and all sorts of stuff. Elephants, right? Giraffes. You had an entire world to populate, creating millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of animals.
So
all different types of animals, and had to make right.
Every created.
So human-wise,
human beings.
So human-wise, my version is out there.
Human beings. God created one human being. One human being.
So he needed Eve to fulfill the next part, which is be fruitful and multiply.
That is incorrect, my friend.
Never.
Why do you think he needed to create Eve separate from man in order to fulfill, be fruitful, and multiply?
Well, he needed to create Eve to be fulfilled.
Really? You never heard of an amoeba?
They separate.
Okay, right. So why couldn't God make it for man? Why do you think God needed to make man and woman?
So a companion for Adam.
Okay. So nothing to do with procreation.
I'm not clear.
Okay, good, excellent. Okay.
So I don't understand.
Yeah, no, good, okay, excellent. So, Borders, I'm going to try to clear this up for you.
Please.
And we've got to get the doctors behind you. We'll get them on the same page. Okay, that's good. Okay, so listen up. Listen up. This is the most amazing story. And not only is the story amazing, the lessons are even more amazing. It will change your life completely. Forever. Now's your chance to leave. Walk out now, or stand ready to have your life changed forever. Okay, you listening? Yeah, that's it. It's great. Fantastic. Listen to what goes on.
So what happened?
God created man. He only created one human being. Right? A hermaphrodite made of a male, female attached together.
So they were attached.
They were attached together. Absolutely, Borders. You were 100% correct. Don't doubt yourself just because I asked you a question. I just have to ask you a question to see how serious you were.
I was right.
And you were right. Of course you're right, but hold on. Okay. So you go ahead.
I told you you're right.
Okay. If Norm tells you you're right, think about it. Okay, no. Okay, now so listen up. God creates male and female. He creates them as one. They're connected. They're one being, they're one soul. Male and female. And what happens is he goes ahead and he has a male and female, right? He has them connected. One soul. And then what happens is, we'll get into the creations in chapter 2 when it gets more into detail. We'll see why God has to separate them. But God then goes ahead, puts man to sleep, separates them, and creates a separate male and a separate female. Why? I'll give you the short answer now. We'll go more into it when we get into chapter 2.
He separates them.
Yeah.
They were created together with all the parts ready.
Almost all the parts ready.
Okay. Separates them and then put them in to sleep.
No. With surgery without anesthesia, it's a little painful.
Okay.
They put man to sleep, and then he separated woman from him, right? And then went ahead and he brought her to man. He finished making her beautiful. Eve, by the way, the most beautiful woman to ever walk the planet. Okay, and he brings her to man, braids her here, brings her to man, and brings her to her husband.
So as far as part of the side and rib thing, I mean, this is something.
No. The rib thing is not a Jewish thing.
No, I'm talking about a side. The side of
a man.
Part of his side.
Yeah, right.
This is part of his side was actually synonym of separation. That's
correct.
What it means.
Here we go.
Not actually means that he took part.
No. He was, because he was created as this dual being.
Side by side.
Either side by side. I'm not sure exactly side by side or back to back. Whatever. It was this dual being. He separated her, and then he brought it right, patched it up. Kind of made nice. Just right, smoothed it right, and separated. And then brought her to man.
What about her soul?
What about her soul? Excellent. And the answer is,
it was divided.
He took one soul originally that he created, and when he split their body, he split their soul.
So we'll try to.
That's why it's called that we're half of our soul.
Yeah.
And when we're unmarried, we're unfinished. and then we get married, we're finished. Oh, sorry, we're complete.
We're finished.
right, okay. And so what happens is we go ahead, we get married, and we become complete. Now, let's just go back here for a minute. Okay, now, why does God create man? Why does He make it so complicated? He created 1 million animals, 1 million tigers, the lions, middle tigers, middle cheetahs, and buffalo, and all sorts of wonderful stuff, all beautiful creations. And every single creation that's out there is so gorgeous and unbelievable. Right? Sometimes we appreciate, some of them appreciate, some of them we don't appreciate. Right? We get this beautiful creation, how the world is created, just the most amazing thing. It's just fantastic. Just wow, just incredible. And we go ahead, we get a beautiful created world. So why did God create a couple million human beings? Why does God feel the need when it comes to human being to start off the world with one human being?
To remind us that we're supposed to seek out our other half and become one.
Nope.
No.
He created us as one.
Yeah.
Listen up. This is the life changer.
Not like animals.
The entire world. All billions and billions and trillions of animals and atoms and molecules and all the other wonderful things in the world. And I want to tell you how many wonderful things are in the world. There's so many wonderful things in the world. Anyone know how many grains of sand there are in the world?
You can't count them, though.
Tell you about the right. So they figured they did a rough number. It's 10 to the 18th power. By the way, just curiosity, you know how many stars are in the world? 10 to the 18th power. How about that?
Countless.
Yeah, no, 10 to the 18th is countable.
I mean, actually,
And that's
there is a
in a
count.
way, right?
And 10 to the 18th is the stars in the world. Right? That's what the Talmud says. So the Talmud gives a number for stars, not for saints.
So there is an actual...
Saying this from the University of Hawaii that they took a guesstimate. But okay. But so they could be off. But the Torah is right. The Talmud says how many stars there are. 10 to the 18th power. That's how many stars there are in the universe. Amazing. How many stars are in the universe? Incredible. Right? On all these stars in the universe, 10 to the 18th is a big number.
Yeah.
It's 18 zeros. And one followed by 18 zeros. And in 10 molecules of water, there are more atoms, or there are more molecules in 10 drops of water than all the stars in the universe. It's incredible, pretty incredible stuff. The world is
more
so
molecules in what?
in water, in 10 drops of water.
Then in all the universe there are
Stars, yeah. I think I'm molecules atoms. It's a cute little thing I saw. I should have paid more attention. Okay, so listen up. God created an entire universe. Universe, not just world. Entire universe.
For man.
For the sake of one human being.
The beginning.
Right? The whole world was created for Adam. My friends, tomorrow morning when you wake up, understand that you are that one human being that God created the entire universe for. You are the purpose of the entire world. And you, the entire world, with all its supporting casts, Norman Sherrill supporting actors, okay, to your world, to my world. I wake up in the morning and I say, world, get ready to listen. Rabbi Epstein is here. And you are all of my supporting actors and actresses. Some of you know you're playing the part, and some of you don't know you're playing the part. And the entire universe was created for one human being. And each and every one of us, when we wake up in the morning, has to look into the mirror and we have to say,
Thank you.
Thank you, God, for creating the entire universe. And I am the purpose of this universe.
Is that healthy?
Okay, now you can leave. Alrighty, right? The entire universe was created, right? Was created for me, for one person. And that message is so important. So important to understand and to know, right? And that we get to a place of where, right? That we wake up every morning and we say, I am the purpose of this universe. Now, if I am the purpose of this universe, there's come with a few different, few different caveats to that. Number one being, if I am successful in my world today, I have brought the entire universe into completion. And if I have not been successful, I do not do my mission in the world. The entire world today was created for the wrong reason.
The mission is to do good.
The mission is to create a relationship with God.
Which is
That's
to
why,
do good.
right, to put God's name up in lights, right? That's what this world is all about, right? This entire world is here as a place to be, right, to bring God's name into this world
By doing good deeds.
by doing godly deeds,
Good
what we call mitzvos,
mitzvahs, good deeds.
right. That's our job. And the whole purpose, the sole purpose in creating the world as individually as one, is to teach me this idea that I matter. And what I do matters. And what I am accomplishing in this world matters. That is why I am here. That is why I am created. And whatever I do today, because remember, if you wake up in the morning, what does that mean? The coach says,
you have a mission.
You have a mission. He needs you.
Make the shot.
Make the shot. Take the shot. No, it's from God. He's giving you the ball. He's telling you to take the shot. And the whole world was created for you. And sometimes we might get a little despondent. Because we might look back and say, I didn't do such a good job, God. Right? I didn't accomplish. I'm just figuring this out now, and I got a whole bunch of years of living that maybe I didn't do what I should have done. And you know what the answer is?
It's not too late.
It's not too late. Why?
God is forgiving.
Because today is all that matters. Because today, God woke you up and said, it's game day. Here's the ball, and take the shot. You following? Right? Do you understand?
Yes.
Right? And so what happens is when you recognize that my job in this world, and I bring the world to completion by what I do, right? Today, right? I now have brought the world into its completion. Right? They now have gone ahead and I've created, I've brought the world into its perfection. Right? And that's why I'm here. Right? I'm here today to go ahead and to accomplish that goal. Right? And that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm doing, and that's why God says, okay, I'm going to create you one as one. Because understand the message that the world was created just for you.
The thing is that it looks like it's a pre-flood situation again, as far as the evil rules.
No. So
that's unfortunate tragedy.
No. He's saying there's a lot of evil in the world.
Yeah, evil.
What's the answer? What's your job, Boris?
To fight it.
No, and to do what?
Praise God.
Bring godliness into this world. That's what this world is about. Let's don't get off message. Let's keep to the message. What's the message? Share, why were you created?
To build a relationship with God.
Right, and to bring godliness into this world. That's my job. Period. End of story. Statement. Period. Nothing more to talk about. My job in this world is to go ahead and to bring, that's what the world is about. And that's why the world starts off with one human being. Right? And then eventually God's going to go ahead and God's going to separate them. But if God created us originally as two or more, then we would think that the world needed more than me for the world to be worth creating.
That's
So
right.
only one person can change the world.
One person can change the world. And by the way, what do you mean one person can change the world? Who's the one person that changed the world?
God.
Abraham.
Oh, Abraham.
Right? Abraham created the Jewish people. Right? That's what Abraham did. He created the Jewish people.
We're
Right?
going to get to that covenant of the parts.
We are going to get to the covenant part.
Yeah.
Chapter 15 in Genesis.
We're going to get there.
In a few years, but you're fine. Depends how many questions you're asking. But yes, we are going to get it slated to get it there.
I'm trying not to ask questions.
No, you're doing great. Chapter, but that's what it is. Right? But the whole world was created for one person. Like just now there's a problem with this. There's a downside to this.
Yeah, the other note says he would just dust the
No, because what happens is when you go into the bathroom, you look in the mirror and you say, the whole world was created for me. What's the problem?
Your fault.
Your head gets so big you can't get out of the bathroom.
Right.
Right? Because you're stuck inside because you think you're the whole purpose of the world and therefore you only matters.
Right.
And therefore if you only matters, then what? And if it's all about you, what's the problem?
Then you become selfish. And
Then you think you make the rules.
Giver, you become a taker.
So what do you have in your other pocket, right? Why do you have two pockets?
One for the note.
One for the note in the right hand pocket that says the world was created for me, which is what took place over here. The other pocket and says, I am but just dust and ash.
So how to balance it?
Man, how to balance those two.
Yeah.
Right, we got to keep those two pockets, right? Two hands in the pockets. Because of me the world was created, and I am but just dust and ash. And when I recognize these two ideas, right? We understand these two ideas that are here, that I am the purpose of the world. At the same time, I'm but just dust and ash. Right? Then I understand that I can bring the world to completion by doing my mission and doing my job. And choosing to do right. And choosing to do good. And when I go ahead and I choose to do those good things, that's when I bring the world to its completion.
Does
The balance.
That's it.
does it matter when you make that choice? If you make the choice because your conscience tells you you must do the right thing, as opposed to doing the right thing because you really want to and love to do the right thing.
Okay, and what does your conscience mean?
Well, you feel bad if you don't do it. You may not feel like it.
Ah!
For example, you wake up in the morning,
Right.
you don't want to put on tefillin.
Right.
Because-
You're tired. You had a rough night last night.
But you know the right thing is
You need the
Right. Yeah, okay, right. Go ahead, right? Okay.
So does that count as if you
So the answer is like this: should we do the right thing only when I'm motivated and doing it for the right reasons, or should I do the right things even when I'm not motivated and I'm just doing it because it's the right thing to do?
right.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Right? The answer is you should always do them. The answer is clearly when you're doing it because you understand why you're doing it. It certainly is a greater act of doing it than just doing it.
Right.
But the Talmud has a great line. The Talmud says, go do the right thing even when you don't feel like it, because hopefully by doing the action enough times you'll begin to feel like doing it. He says if you only do it when you feel like doing it, you're never going to get to feel like doing it, because what's going to motivate you, what's going to change you to want to do it.
It's like exercise.
It's like right. It's like exercise. Right, exercise is a good example. You should just do it, right? Right, not because it's the right thing, right? Just do it, and then hopefully you'll come to the point where you'll enjoy it.
It's the same like with the class. You should
Yeah,
go to
right,
the
right,
class
right, right.
because
Do it
you-
right, not right, but the greater you do it, yeah. Okay, 1 second. Yeah,
Last question. So,
we had that on tape.
so you're born from a mother and a father.
Yeah.
You come out as a childhood, you're single until you find your
Your mate,
soulmate,
yeah.
and you go on with your life.
Yes,
So, am I searching for my soulmate?
you better be. You're not doing a good job, but yeah, you're supposed to
But
be.
the first soul that I came, my soul is different than the other soul.
No. Ha ha. I'm going to tell you one of the most beautiful ideas. You want to hear like a really cool idea?
Yes.
It's just something super beautiful. Do we make a blessing when a baby is born?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the answer is we do, but the blessing we make is the same blessing we make on a nice bottle of wine. Right? It depends on the boy or girl. You say tavameta v'shachianu, right? But the answer is if you buy a new suit, you make a shachianu, right? You get you drink a better bottle of wine that was at the thing, make a tavameta. So those are the two blessings you make on a baby being born. Why don't you make? You should think when your baby's being born, it's such a colossal, earth-shaking, earth-shattering event. You should make this huge blessing. And yet, we have blessings for everything, and for baby being born, like we're out to lunch. Yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's quite bizarre.
Right.
So listen to this. The answer is we do make a blessing on a baby being born. Do you know when we make that blessing?
The baby's name.
We make the blessing when the baby is standing underneath the chuppah.
What's that?
when it's standing underneath the chuppah and marries its other half. Because until the baby finds the other half, you only got half a baby. You only got half a soul. Which blessing do you make on the baby being born? The blessing, there are 2 blessings we make underneath. There are 7 blessings we make underneath the chuppah. There's 2 and then there's 7. There's 7 blessings we make. One of them is Baruch Atah Hashem. Right? God, you are the source of all blessings. Elokeinu, our God. Melech HaOlam, King of the universe. Right? Yotzer HaAdam, the creator of man. And then the next blessing, we make another blessing again, ending off Yotzer HaAdam, the creation of man. And do you know why we make 2 blessings underneath the chuppah?
7 blessings.
Remember why these 2 blessings on the creation of a person? Because one is when they go ahead and they put their bodies become one, and one is when their souls become one. Because when you stand underneath the chuppah, that is when you're going ahead and you're putting the 2 half souls that were created. And they now go ahead and they're now going ahead and now they're coming together and they're now being created in one at that point in time. That's when we make the blessing on the creation of man.
I see.
Because that's where the creation of man happens.
What happens when they get divorced?
God forbid. Right? No. So that's what happens.
Reality.
Right? No. It says the stones of the altar shed tears.
They can separate it. The soul becomes half
become half souls again. And they have to go find the other souls. Right? But that's exactly what happens.
Do you have more than one soul, mate?
Also, very fascinating. Right? So listen, somebody gets married and then God forbid their spouse dies and they get remarried. My answer is yes. You look at it, some molecules have 1 connection, some have 2 connections. Like a hydrogen might needs 2 oxygens. But oxygen only needs 1 hydrogen. Right? So you either hydrogen or oxygen. Right? You know what I'm saying? Right? It could happen. And that's how, because really, ultimately, we really will all go back to the souls of Adam and Eve. It goes back to that original soul. And just keeps on just shattering. And just, you get a different piece and get a little piece of that soul. And that's what happens. You get that soul. Right? Right? And that's the blessing you make on the creation of man. It's on the creation of a it's such an incredible idea. That this is where the 2 halves of the soul come together, and they become one.
So there is no married bachelors.
No. Sorry, Boris. You got to go find somebody. Right, but that's what takes place. Right, that's exactly what takes place, and that's where it happens. Right? That's where the separation takes place.
But is it sometimes possible for a half soul be happier than join together with the other half, which they can be a misery? I mean, it depends. It's all trade-off.
Oh, my friend.
It's ideally what you say is the way it's supposed to be. But I mean, in real life,
the problem. I'll tell you your problem. Your problem is you don't know what happiness is. You thought you knew what love meant. You love your steak. You're busy eating your steak. Right? Do you think is happy isn't happy?
Well, we see so many divorces in the world.
Right, because people are missing the manual. They don't understand what marriage is all about. See, I'm going to explain to you something. You know why most people get married?
Because it makes them feel good.
Right. They walk into my office and say, Rabbi, I want to get married. I say, why do I get married? I say, well, and the other person, I've become such a better person when I'm with this other person. That's what they tell me. I said, you're the same self-centered person you were before you walked in and after you walked in. I said, in self-centered, you're going to get killed in marriage. I said, go back home. I said, what are you going to give? He said, Rabbi, I'm getting married to take, not to give. I said, exactly. I said, that's why I don't want to marry you, because I don't want to divorce you. Right? Right? I don't want, right? And that's why 60 or 70% of marriages end up in divorce. Because everyone's in it to take, furthermore. And they're missing the point of marriage.
To give.
And so, of course, if they don't give, of course it'll be miserable.
So when divorce happens, in one side, for instance, man or woman, gives, and the other person just takes. So what happens then? Divorce.
They both miss the memo. That's not usually what happens. Everyone is taking, and when they're tired of each other taking from each other, then they get divorced.
That's it. So
what if it makes you feel good to give to the other person?
That's exactly what should happen. You know why it makes you feel
what
good?
if that person doesn't give back?
Okay, well, if it makes you good to give, so what do you care?
Yeah, I didn't care.
Okay, the answer is then you don't care. Okay, well,
I just enjoy giving.
No, if you enjoy that's what we're supposed to give. That's why God created us.
So you think it's normal to continue to give even the other
I didn't say
person
normal.
doesn't?
You asked me what it is. I said right.
That's what you said.
Right, I'm
Listen to the Rabbi.
No.
That's why eventually
No. Our job is to give. Why is our job to give?
Because giving is better than to take it.
Because God is a giver.
Right.
And when you give, you're godly.
So the Christians are right. They say that it's a greater joy to give than to receive.
Of course. I mean, that.
So they must have gotten that from us.
Yeah, of course they got it from me.
So
Dun. Woo, okay, look at that. The bell's going off. That's exactly what it is.
Rabbi.
Yeah.
But I get confused sometimes. Like when you take a responsibility, you understand in that perspective that you should be a giver, right?
Yeah.
And then you take that action, and then you have the opposition. So I don't need you thing. I don't need the thing, And some people kind of like, why he always, do this stuff like that. You feel, you see where I'm going?
No.
Like you feel the opposition.
Yeah, okay,
But
okay.
give you the capacity
Okay. So let me tell you something now. Let me tell you something very important. You have to learn how to give, and you have to learn how to take.
How do we give?
No. It's very important. Okay, so now listen up. Listen up carefully. Marriage 101.
Okay.
Boris, listen up. Okay? Giving. Okay, Sharon, listen up. Okay? Giving is not you giving what you want to give. Giving is thinking what the other person wants and giving to the other person what they want/need.
What they want what?
What they want/need. Not what you want to give, what they want.
Right.
Okay? Right? Right, you following? Right?
Right.
And so that's giving. Now taking. So how do you take? So you have to take in order to make the other person feel good about giving. If you don't take, I don't want to take. No, I just want to give. So you're not giving the other person an opportunity to give. Yeah. That's not good.
You're depriving
right? You're depriving him of the ability to give. And that's not good either.
You see, that's right.
So that's it. You have to learn how to give and you have to learn how to take. And then we'll continue on with marriage classes later. But because we didn't get chapter 2, we're going to get to real marriage classes.
To sum up, it's a both-way street.
I want your guidance on this situation. It was a person that, approached me in a discussion and said, oh, I don't have that. I wish I can have that shoes. I don't have it.
Right.
And then I said, really? What's your size? Right? And then, I went and get whatever she designed, and then I said, well, surprise. I didn't tell her. I said, surprise. And then I said, well, hey, I have your issue. He said, oh, we don't need anything.
Right.
You see, and make me like, okay, you say it.
No.
Right.
I said, hold on. Because if you give it to somebody, but you make them feel like a taker, so then you're not making them feel good.
No.
Because you're making them feel like a taker.
I've been given a long time.
Right.
I get your point. But let me correct myself. Okay. It was just, like the humblest way, like, I know what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, make it like, but some people has that,
ability,
attitude, and like, oh, you don't need anything. That it discourages you to take an action.
Right. So again, you want to, if you want to give to a person, that's great. Right. Again, that people don't know how to take, and that's what we have to learn how to do.
How do you give to somebody without having them feel like a taker?
Good.
Okay, we're going to go through the Chumash. We're going to see this in the Chumash over and over again.
Okay, you pointed
out. I'll point it out. It's some of the most incredible stories in the Chumash. You find about you should see how the matriarchs and teach us how to give.
Especially how to help people without making
them feel
without belittling them.
Right. Without making them feel.
But the art of giving is not easy art.
I know, no, that's right. That's what I told you. People don't have either one of those. People have to learn how to give, and people have to learn how to take. Alrighty, folks, it's that time of night again. Everyone have a wonderful evening. We'll see you all same bat time, same bat station.
Do you need rice?